David, there were two Westpath petitions pertaining to pensions. One pertained to how pensions affect churches and one how they affect clergy. Explain how that petition affects churches.
It affects the churches not only in what was happening at General Conference 2019, but it affects the churches that are closing because of loss of membership, lack of viability. Whatever a reason a church would close, this was an effect on it because churches, as we were active from 1982 forward, we entered into covenant agreements that we wanted to provide pensions to our pastors. And so we agreed that as churches, we would fund those retirement pensions. So if we have less churches to fund, that means that we're going to be missing some money to be able to fund the pensions for our pastors. So what this does, it allows when a church closes, either because of abandonment or because it's no longer viable or because they want to disaffiliate, it allows them to pay a pension contribution that I like to call a covenant contribution because I'm completing my covenant and then I'm leaving for whatever the reason is. And this will apply to any church in the future that closes. It just allows us as a local church to meet our contribution covenant and to fund the pensions for the clergy that will retire in the future that have served the churches so well. And it allows us then to say we're still working together in the connection even when our churches close.
Okay. So we've talked about how this impacts churches. The next part of this is how does the pension petition impact clergy?
The pension petition of impacting clergy had two effects on it. Number one, what the people need to understand is that if a clergy's not leaving the denomination, nothing affected them. It was a wonderful thing to be able to say, only the ones that are affected are the ones that would be leaving the conference. Now, this petition not only dealt with the 2019 action, but it dealt with any reason a clergy would surrender their credentials. So this is a long-term fix to a situation where we have defined benefits.
Hold on, David. Repeat that again so everybody will be clear about if you're not leaving, nothing changed.
All right, so here's the way we can say it. If you're not leaving the church, nothing changed, and you can kind of take a nap during the part of this question. Okay. Let's put it that way. That way people get a nap out of the deal.
Okay.
But if somebody's going to leave from the church by surrendering their credentials, then that, if the pension had not changed, we would have had a defined benefit, a long-term payment for the whole life of that person, which then ties the person to the church that they have left, but it also ties the church to owing money and having market risk over the lifetime of that clergy. So it's really two pieces. So if a clergy leaves the denomination by surrendering their credential, then they will be immediately paid what they had earned as of the date they left for the time they served, and does not put a liability on the churches to pay something, but it also doesn't tie that clergy to a denomination that they decided to leave. And so it really becomes fair to everybody, and this was a fix that was for every occasion in which a clergy leaves, not just because of what happened at General Conference 2019.